Okay, so could you start by telling everyone your name, your age, and where you're from, please?
My name is Lily Frankel. I'm from San Francisco, California, and I'm 15, almost 16.
And you've been with us for about 10 days now, so we're coming to the end of the fortnight. What are your overall impressions of the course?
Generally, I think that the course is very well structured. It's a really good format because there's a big mix of what we get to do. It's not purely academic. There's also a side where we get to do different activities and get to know people because we have class in the morning and then an elective or not, depending on what day it is. And then after that, we get to do some sort of random activity, such as the ghost tour with Bill Spector, and after dinner. But in between classes and dinner, there's usually free time where we can go to the JCR or just talk to people, hang out, and do our work for our classes. And I think it's important to get to know that balance and sort of figure out how you can work with that balance of only having classes at the beginning of the day and then having to take more academic responsibility for what you're going to work on and how you're going to balance having a social life with doing work, even if it's just in like this really small setting.
Yeah, it's a kind of the idea of it really is to give an experience of student life in the UK. So you mentioned your classes. What options are you taking with us?
My major is psychology, my minor is Gothic fiction, and my elective is creative writing.
Excellent. And how have you found those? Have you got a favourite class?
My favorite class is probably my elective, creative writing, because I think it's very fun. It's always not super strictly formatted, but like there's not a very strict schedule, although we might have one or two activities that we're doing, but it's more just a place where we can write and be creative, which is good if you like to write and be creative, because it can be hard to find time to do that kind of things in your everyday student life because it just gets to be so busy. And it's also a small class. I mean, it's my biggest class because it's, I think, 6 people total. But just generally speaking, I mean, 6 people in a class is very small. So but it's also big enough that it's not super awkward, so people talk and we can kind of get feedback on our ideas and maybe hear other people's ideas and just collaborate on what we're doing, and that's always very helpful for me, and so I think it's a really good environment.
Do you find that you're learning not just from your tutors, who are presumably excellent, but also from the other students then? Has that been a kind of an enriching experience?
I think definitely for me, getting to know the other students has been a really positive experience because of what they bring to my classes and ideas, but also just because of culturally and like socially everything there, all the people are very different, and because it's 16 different countries that they come from. Yeah. So it's a lot of different cultures that is really interesting to hear about, and I think it's important because a lot of times kids, especially like where I live, are a little bit more sheltered and we don't usually get to know people from different places besides just America. So I think it's important to get to know other cultures so we're not like alienating them, which is a problem, you know. Yeah. And so that's just been a really good and helpful experience for me.
Great, and that presumably hasn't just happened in your classes, but sort of outside of the classroom as well. You mentioned this balance. Could you talk a little bit about the other activities you've been doing outside of the classroom?
Well, we do activities in the evening. Usually there's something scheduled, like going to see a play or a debate or something. So that's nice because it's nice to see something. I get to know Oxford in a way that I wouldn't have scheduled for myself. But then there's also time in between classes and dinner when you can just go out with your friends and explore on your own, go shopping, or just come back here and do work. And I mean, there's foosball and pool, although the pool stick is missing currently. So that's fun too.
And what's the experience been like of living in an Oxford college for 2 weeks? How have you found that?
It's always a little bit different when you're living somewhere that's not your house. So a lot of people that I know they'll have issues when they go away for the first time. Maybe I don't know. I mean, there's always camp, but it's always different when you're just in a dorm with a bunch of new people. So I think it's been helpful to get more used to that And generally speaking, I mean, it's a beautiful campus, it's a beautiful place, and you get food in the morning and at night, that's a plus. And I think it's generally been positive. It's not, so it's different obviously from like living by yourself or living in a house with your family, but I think it's important to be able to find what works for you, and living with a roommate, like how you can talk to the other person, communicate, and find out how both of you can live together in a way that's good, that works for the two of you, because if one person's unhappy, that's never fun. So I think it's been important for me to just learn how to communicate with people, make sure that I'm not like infringing on space or anything.
That's great. So it's a kind of a growing exercise as well as much as a learning one. Do you have a favourite aspect of the course? Maybe something that we've done, or a particular class or something like that that you'll really take home and remember?
I think I'm going to really take home all the plays we saw, because they were just, the first one that we saw was, it was a spectacle, and I think I always remember it.
Yeah.
And I think regardless of performance, they were both interesting stories, and the second one especially was a very moving performance, so I think just being exposed to culture, and I love theater, and so just being able to see plays and stories is just like, it's amazing. I love it, and it's fun to see things abroad and like see a different culture's take on what's happening currently in their society in a way that I wouldn't normally maybe look for.
So we're always learning. That's good. Would you recommend this course to a friend?
Probably, yeah. But I mean, if it's a friend that doesn't want to do schoolwork and like just wants to have fun all day, I wouldn't recommend it. But if it's somebody who does want to do something productive, I would definitely recommend it, yeah.
And how would you describe the course in 3 words?
Like adjective, 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 or like a sentence of 3 words?
Up to you. Adjective, adjective, adjective.
Okay. Okay. Fast-paced, but that's hyphenated, so it's 1 word.
Okay.
Eye-opening, also hyphenated, and short, like too short.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry to hear that, but you can always come back next year.
I'm only doing 2 weeks, but, well,
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lily.
No problem.